Yes, it's true. For most Indians, PF is the winner, although I believe it should not be. But that is the fact. Whether mutual funds give you 15, 18, 20% returns, or stocks may give you, maybe some of the stocks may give you much more returns. Despite that, it's the PF or maybe the PPF or even your property is the winner. And I believe it should not be. And today, I want you to change this. So it is less to do with math and more to do with your mind, your psychology. And that's what we will try to examine today. And if you think it is right, change it today. Because I have personally lost. Yes, PF has been the winner for me. And what do I mean by winner? Keep watching till the end. I won't take a lot of time. Hi, I'm Franky Fernandes, and I am a certified financial planner, a financial coach, and I'm also a relationship, a marriage coach. For me, both are so important. I am 24 years married, and I've got more than 30 years of experience in the asset management, that is the mutual fund industry. And recently, I've launched Harmony and Money Hub, a community for young families who want to grow their wealth, get over their challenges and debt and struggles of saving and investing, and also develop a very strong relationship with your spouse. So I'm doing a free webinar every Sunday, usually every Sunday at 7 p.m. You can check the link in the description, click the link, and you can register for the webinar. It's a free webinar, and I'm also going to introduce you to the community called Harmony and Money. We already have members who have enrolled, and I believe this can be a game changer for young families. So, hope to see you. Yes, coming back to the video. So, let's get started with today's video. So, first, I'll take you through a spreadsheet where we will compute. First, we'll compute your salary, your basic salary, and the PF amount while you are 30 years old. And then until 60, if we were to give a salary hike of certain percentage, how much it grows into. And then based on that, what could be your likely PF corpus, right? So we will do that little math. It's an Excel sheet, just have to enter the numbers. Let's take a look. So here is a spreadsheet. Okay, so this is a spreadsheet that I've prepared, and I'll just take you through each of the components. So here is the EPF interest. Right now it is some 8.25. So it's 8.25, and based on that, I have just entered the number here, and we will keep this constant for the future also. Although the interest rates are falling over the years, they've fallen. There was a time when EPF would give 12% also, 12%, and for many number of years, 12%, 11%, right? But right now it is 8.25, and it'll keep going down. But we will, for the sake of simplicity, we'll keep it the same. Uh, let's assume that you get 5% hike every year, which is okay, reasonable. Inflation is more than that. Your current age is 30, the retirement age is 60, and your basic salary. So let's assume that let's take your basic salary as probably 75,000. Sorry, let's take your salary as 75,000. Out of that, 50%, 50%, we will assume that 50% is the basic salary on which the PF is computed. So per month, 37,500, and therefore the per annum salary is 4.5 lakh. And that is entered here, right? It is copied from here. So what is the employee's contribution and employer? So this is something that you can decide, but it is best to have it maximum so that what you giving your employer also gives you, which is 12%. So basically 12%, and I've copied the same here. So you get so much as your PF, which goes into your PF. That is per annum, 108,000. That is 1,08,000 goes into PF. And then this is some calculations you can ignore, because based on this we will compute this number. So here is the basic salary at retirement, which means here what I've done is I've basically given the basic salary, and how it keeps going up every year. And I've also given the difference between 60 and 30. So most likely, now this is all tentative, this is all assumptions. Okay, it could be more or less, it could be more, it could be less, but mostly it could be more. So it is around 20 lakhs, 19 lakhs, 45,000. So therefore, in the last year, the the contribution to your salary to PF will be so and so. So your net balance, basically taking into consideration your retirement age, the current PF interest, okay, and this number which I have computed, based on that, uh, this is a ballpoint number. So you will get around 2.32 crores as PF corpus. Now, um, let's remember that if this goes down, this also will go down. And if the salary hike, for example, if this is, let's take 7%, so it will go down. Now, 7%, it for throughout it will not be 7%, right? So right now it is 8.25. So over the years it may go down slightly. So let's put an average of 8%. And salary hike. Now, some of you may get a salary hike much more when you switch jobs, right? So average again for let's increase it to probably 8%. And your current age and this. So you may get 3.5 crore as PF. So this will be your balance at retirement, your PF corpus, roughly. Okay. This is your corpus, and how many years? Probably 30, 35 years, right? So if you say years all put together, it could be 35 years. And this will be a well deserved corpus for your retirement. Now, let's take a look at something else. So now let's take another example of another investment. Let's take PPF. Now PPF is also very common. PF is something which goes from your salary, but PPF is something that it's a favorite of our Indians, and over the years many have been investing in PPF, right? And people continue to invest in PPF. So let's assume that you are investing 5,000 into PPF every month, and let's assume that you want to increase it every year by probably 10%, because your salary is increasing and you feel that PPF is very safe and it'll give you returns. Now, what is the returns that you get in PPF? So currently it is 7.1%. Now, this is the interest rates now, and as I said, it is coming down, similar to PF. PPF also used to give 12% and more. And what is the minimum period? 15 years. So 15 years, if you continue to invest 5,000 for 15 years, if you compound all the interest, so then it comes to around 30 lakhs. Now, there's a habit of many of Indians that they extend it by 5 years, 5 years, 5 years. You can do that. You can do it perpetually. You have to increase it by 5 years every time. So I've seen people who will increase it by 5 years, maybe 20, and then maybe 25, and let's assume that 30 years. Okay. So the corpus here, because of regularly investing 5,000 and increasing. So initially, if you see here the numbers, initially it is 5,000 into 1260, then it becomes 66, then it keeps increasing. So by the time you reach your 40th year, you're investing every year 1.41 lakhs. And by the time you 30 years, you are retiring at this, you are investing 951, and that's why it is 2.13 is the corpus based on this interest rate. Now, again, this interest rate can go down. So if we assume that it will go down in the coming years, so it will be around, let's take around maybe 2 crores. So your PPF has given you around 3.31 crores, and your SIP, your PPF has given you 1.97. Why did I show you PPF, the EPF and PF? These are the two common investment options that Indians invest. PF, there is no choice. PF gets deducted. The choice is the percentage. Second is PPF. Again, many of them put in PPF, invest in PPF, because PPF is safe, secure, tax free. You get it has got three E's, which means when you invest, you get tax exemption ATC. The interest does not attract any taxes. That is the second exemption. Third, when you receive PPF or EPF, whatever, it's tax free. So it's a big sum tax free you get. Now, these are very common. And then there are other very common investment options that people have. For example, fixed deposit. Then many people buy properties and keep for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, and even as an inheritance. So let's take a look at some of the other common investment options. So now we move on to yet another very popular product, which is the fixed deposits. So what I'm assuming here is that every year at the end of the year, probably you receive a bonus or maybe accumulated savings. You begin with 2 lakhs when you were at 30 and you invest it in an FD every year and you increase it by 5%, and the interest rate on an average is 6%. So that is what the scenario I am taking, and let me show you the Excel sheet. So here is the Excel. At 30, you invest 2 lakh rupees per annum, and 5% is the increase every year. You're increasing the FD because your savings are increasing, your salary is growing, and the interest rate is 6%. And FDs compound every quarter, right? So accordingly, I have actually done the computation. So roughly by the end of 60 years, this will be 3.16 crore, right? So this is the FD. So now we take yet another example of maybe a property. So let's take this house as an example. You're 30 years old and you take a home of worth 50 lakh rupees. The EMI is 33,019. How did I arrive? Here is a sheet where I have the EMI. So I entered 45 lakhs as the loan amount, 8% as interest, and 30 years tenure. And the EMI is 33,019, right? Down payment, I paid 5 lakh rupees and at 60. And considering 8% appreciation, usually it is 6 to 7% appreciation you receive on a home, a property, a residential property. And based on that, it it is 5 crore 3 lakhs, right? So now let's do a quick summary of what we have discussed so far. So the EPF is 3.31 crore, if you've seen here, and PPF, which we calculated, it's around here 1.97 crores, 5,000 per month, and the FD is 3.16 crore based on 5% increase every year and 6% as the interest rate, quarterly compounding. And property, which is here, which we purchased, and now it is 5.03 crores. So this is what is the summary of investment. So here the assumption is only investing for 30 years, to keep it simple. No children's education or their marriage or whatever. We are not withdrawing anything. Okay. Uh, this objective of this video is to compare, right? And to compare with what? Now, why did I show these things? Because these are the common investment asset classes in a typical Indian's portfolio. PF, there is no choice. I had my PF for probably 28 years. I started my job in SBI in 93. I got that is where my PF was getting deducted till my last year in December 2020 when I was earning in Franklin Templeton. So all those years, whatever was the PF, I never withdrew. And this is one strong recommendation to you all: never withdraw. This is one fund, one yes, this is one of your retirement corpus where you'll get tax free, and the interest rate is decent. Yes, I know there are some people who withdraw, probably take a loan or spend it. Unless you withdraw it and invest it in a much higher drawing interest, much higher returns products, it doesn't make sense. And there are other ways of investing for higher interest. So we look at that. Now this is what it is, and PF also uh, around 30 years. That is, most people have, they keep extending by 5 years. I know people who do that. Then FDs, I know people who have FDs for number of years of their life, and property, of course. And I'm not considering this as the property where you live. Where you live, it is not an investment. Yes, when you leave this world on this, when your time on earth is over, it gets passed on to your children as an inheritance. Probably that is an investment for them, or probably if they live, it is no longer investment. But I am not considering that property. I'm talking about purely about the property which people purchase. They take a loan and buy another property, two or three properties people purchase. So based on that, I'm calculating. So here, uh, at 30 you start, at 60 it's 13.50 crore. And usually these are the winners. Now, if you look at it returns wise, there's something better. And let me just translate this, just convert this into mutual funds. My favorite investment options, mutual funds or stocks. So let's try to reasonably distribute some of these into stocks or mutual funds. So here, I don't recommend PF to be converted into mutual funds, but let's assume that instead of doing PPF, FD, and property, you do mutual funds. Now, except for PPF, except for EPF, the rest I will just convert it into SIPs or mutual fund investments with an average return of just 15%. Okay, 15% returns. That's it. And we will see what this translates into. Right. So first, let's go to PPF. Now here, I was investing 5,000. We were investing 5,000, increased by 10% every year, and the interest rate is 6.5. Now, let's 15% is reasonable, but let me do 13% for 30 years. So what does that turn into? 4.89 crores. Now let's take a look at FDs. 5% increase every year, 6% is the interest rate, and compounding quarterly. So let me change this compounding quarterly into annually. So since it is compounding quarterly, I won't take the 13 or 15%. I'll reduce it and make it 11%. Okay, to keep it fair. So what is the, okay, 7.54%. And now let's go to the property. So for purchasing the property, we took a loan, and that was an EMI of 33,019. So let me convert this EMI into SIPs, and 33,000 I'll input it here. 33,000 and no increment, and we'll make it 12% for 30 years. How much is it? 10.70 crores. Now, another thing which we forgot is this 5 lakhs. This 5 lakhs, instead of investing as a down payment, 5 lakh, I take this 5 lakh, I make it 12% returns for 30 years. How much it becomes? 1.5 crore. So I add here another 1.5 crore. Now let's do a calculation. So the returns are 28 crores. Now, the only difference is PF, when you receive it will be tax free. Here, SIPs won't be tax free. That's the reason I've reduced the interest rate. This also won't be tax free. Yes, this anyway. See, this is the only thing this is tax free. And this is also tax free, which I have not touched. Finally, the difference is 10 crores only. Now, this could be more or less. We are keeping it simple uh, because money will be withdrawn for children's education, money will be withdrawn for their marriage, and 10 crores extra means 10 crores on around 18 crores is around. But you will rarely find any investor having SIPs for 30 years. You'll find PPF for 50 years. You'll find FDs for PPF for 30 years, FDs for 30 years, property for 30, 50, 60 years, any number of years. but you will never find an SIP for this long. So, in an Indian, a typical Indian's portfolio, it's always the PF, PPF, FD or property which is the winner. And as I said in the beginning, it is a winner because of the time that you are in your portfolio, the number of years that it spends. Sadly and unfortunately, most do not have SIPs for so many years. Let me show you an example of what an SIP of a real fund has turned into. That is just for an example. I'm not. It doesn't mean that you've got to follow and buy that product. Okay, let me show you. So here, this is a news item which I picked August 6, 2025. HDFC FlexiCap Fund turns 10,000 SIP to nearly 21.50 crore in 31 years. The investment amount is merely 37 lakhs. So 6x the amount. Now, 31 years. This is exactly an example of what we're talking about, 31 years. Now, do you think anybody would have invested? But there are some stupid investors. There are some foolish investors who missed this. And you want to know who is that? I missed it. I was in the industry when this is 31 years ago. I was in the industry, but I did not. Now, I know you might say that 10,000 was a big sum. Yes, 10,000 was a big sum, but 1,000 rupees I could have invested, and that 1,000 rupees would have turned into 2.15 crore. During the same period, what was the winner portfolio? What was the winner in my portfolio? It was EPF, it was PF. And I did not get so much PF, much less than this. I did not get so much PF. And this is just 1,000 rupees. I could have actually invested. If I had done this SIP sincerely 30 years ago, today I would have got some 2.15. And not just this. I've made my mistakes when it came to property. Watch my video, 3 properties, 2 mistakes, and 1 lesson learned. I did this blunder. I have invested in FDs. I also had PPF. So the winner in my portfolio is still EPF because for 28 years, I have not had SIPs or mutual funds invested for 28 years. Never. So what did I lose? Probably I've lost a few crores. Already in my video, in the property video, I talked that I would have lost 4 to 5 crores. And here also, because of not doing SIPs, I've lost. So friends, now you understood why I said at the beginning that PF is the winner, because that is one thing which will be in your portfolio. And I recommend that, yes, let it be. But parallelly, if you start an SIP, same, almost the same amount of as your PF, let's see what happens. If along with the PF, you also parallelly have an SIP of the same amount, how much will that turn into? Let's take a look. So here, if you look at it, it's 1,08,000 per annum. So monthly, monthly it is 9,000, and every year the increase is roughly 8%, 8%, and the interest rate, because this will be taxable, so I'm not taking 15 or 18%, which usually funds give. HDFC has given so much. So 12% for 30 years is 6 crore. Here you've got 3.31 crore, it is 6 crores. And let me also add this 5 lakh. This 5 lakh for 30 years. This 5 lakh, 12% for 30 years makes it 1.5. So basically, if you have a parallel portfolio just like a PF, you have a mirror investment just like PPF, you'll you will get more than double, which is you'll get 127% extra from your base PF. If your PF is 3.31, you get 7.7, which is 4.2 crores extra, which is 127% of the 3 crores. So what's the message here? While you build your PF and your PF will be the winner if you do not invest anything else. But parallelly, if you start an SIP and mirror this PF, you will get a huge amount along with your PF. And this will be the winner and not the PF. PF should be a part of your portfolio as a measure of caution or asset allocation. You need a certain amount of debt when you retire. When you retire, you need debt. So if you have this debt, if you have a fixed income, and if you here have equities, it's a great combination. When you retire, this money which will come to you, you can actually add it with this, keep some part as debt. The rest of the money you can actually invest probably in equities, and you can have a bucket strategy. Now, what is bucket strategy in retirement? Probably for another video. So there is huge potential. There are several things you can do with this portfolio. So do not allow your property, FD or PF or any other product dominate your portfolio. Hope you found this information insightful. You've learned something about it. Coming back to the start of the video, as I said, it is not just the math, it is the psychology, it is what you think. A lot of us think that we never think twice of liquidating our assets, our property, thinking that um, it will do well. Even if the prices go down, what we say, it will do well. We allow it. When it comes to PF, we feel there is a security from the it is protected from the it has a sovereign protection. When it comes to PF, we also think there is a sovereign protection. When it comes to FD, we trust the banks. So overall, what happens is we trust the banks, we trust uh, the government institution, we feel that sense of security. But when it comes to equities, when it comes to mutual funds, we feel insecure. When the markets go down, we feel insecure. When the markets go up, we feel probably a little greedy. We want to invest more. But the best strategy is SIP. Just do an SIP and leave it. You keep increasing your SIP. That's it. Whether the market goes up or down, you should not worry. Because when you are 30 and when you reach 60, the market would have changed dramatically, phenomenally. Just that is because the country is growing, the GDP is growing, the companies are growing at 25-30% compounded returns, or probably even maybe slightly less. But then they're growing. Whereas all the other products will give you 5, 6, 7, 8%. But only equities will give you 15% and more. So hope that the winner in your portfolio is not a PPF or an EPF or a fixed deposit or a property, but the winner in your portfolio will be equities, mutual funds. All the best, and don't forget to register for the webinar. And if you are watching this for the first time, I encourage you to subscribe. And if you want to comment, please comment in the comment box. What do you think about this video? What you liked, what you didn't like? Again, this video is in its very simple form, just to give us the comparison, right? Comparative study. So this is not a real scenario. The real scenario will have you will buy a house, yes, on loan. You will buy a car from the saved money. You will have your children's education, their wedding, and many other things, right? So hopefully there is some learning for you, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.